Hey everyone, welcome on to Branded, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes and beyond the brand. If you don't already know me, my name is Sarah Glenn, and today we are talking about collaboration and the power of it, like how collaboration can truly 10x your business if you really tap into it from a place of like willingness to learn, be open-minded, not singularly focused on what's in it for you, right? So, welcome on to this week's brand new episode. I absolutely love bringing you guys these episodes. I hope that you enjoy watching them, hearing them, however it is that you consume content. So, let's dive right in. Like, what is collaboration, right? At its core, collaboration is just two people or maybe a group of people coming together and combining their skills, their expertise in creating something new, something innovative, maybe. That's all it really is. And for a little while, I really tapped into collaboration specifically with my podcast. And I was having people on my podcast twice a week. We were doing conversations, we were really digging into them and their businesses and going behind the scenes, going beyond their brand and talking to the woman behind the brand, the person behind the business that created all of the beautiful things that we see today. And I absolutely loved doing all of this. One of the reasons, of course, it expands your network. There are so many great reasons why collaboration is something that you absolutely should be doing as a business owner. So, first off, let's dial it back. Let's go back to some basics. Why bother collaborating in the first place? Well, for me, collaboration is something that it not only will boost your business professionally, but it has the power to really make an impact on yourself, like personally. Because even though if it's all business that's being said, all of that kind of bleeds into your everyday life. And you end up with these new thought processes, these new ideas, these new concepts that you're hearing other people bring into the conversation because you've chosen to collaborate with them. And so, inevitably, your personal and your professional life end up being expanded and enriched every time you collaborate. One of the reasons I actually really love to collaborate with people is entrepreneurship can feel a little bit lonely sometimes. If you're a solopreneur like I am, it can feel a little bit lonely. And sometimes I am right in the middle of a project. I'm doing something that I just feel stuck. Like, have you ever felt this way where you're sitting there and you're racking your brain and you're like, oh, I just cannot put my finger on what is missing here? Like, what is the thing that I am just not seeing that's going to make everything click and be like, oh, it's fucking gorgeous. Okay, it's done. The project is now complete. One of the best reasons to collaborate with people is to have that outside perspective and that sort of unbiased view on work that's being done. They can come into the conversation with a fresh set of eyes, and they can help you make these really simple, usually, right? It's usually very simple, but they can help you get to that answer so much faster because we end up sort of cloudy in our own judgment, with just our own agenda going on. We end up a little bit clouded to what is the reason I'm like creating this thing in the first place? And so having that outside perspective can be absolutely a game changer. It really helps like hyper speed the process of rolling out a new project, really identifying like what's the name of my business going to be. Having another set of ears and eyes and another brain to work from can really, really help. And this is something that not all collaboration has to be formal. And I say formal as in like a set group of people doing something very particular, right? Like collaboration doesn't have to always be that. Collaboration can simply be somebody that you trust, that you can bounce ideas off of. I have a couple people that every time I have something going on, if I'm feeling a little bit stuck, I have those like few core people in my contacts that I can reach out to them and say, hey, I'm feeling a little stuck. I'm trying to do XYZ. I'm just like, something's not landing. Can you help me talk through this? They always do. Why? Because they love having that same kind of interaction and engagement. They understand that while providing advice, they're also enriching themselves because they're becoming part of a conversation that they weren't having just moments ago. So, collaboration, whether informal or formal, is incredibly powerful and incredibly impactful. And it is absolutely something you should be doing. Never, ever, ever, ever should you think because you have to ask for help that you are not good enough, worthy enough, any of the things. Asking for help is a sign of strength. Asking for someone else's opinion, not because you don't trust your own, but because you want to confirm that the train of thought you're having, it makes sense to someone outside of your own brain. It's important to have those conversations with people because if you're only ever having these internal dialects and then you go ahead and launch something, you put it out there to the world, and then you hear crickets. One of the reasons could be because you simply didn't tap into another perspective. Like maybe it was just too internalized. And I know I can get that way sometimes. Like I get so deep into my inner thoughts sometimes that I find it very beneficial to reach out to people and say, okay, so here's the thing that I'm doing. Here's what I was thinking. How do you see this? What's your perspective of this? Because the thing is, everybody has their own life experiences that have conditioned them to see and experience life in their own beautiful, unique way. Nobody will see one project the exact same way as you. Nobody will. The beauty of it, though, is that when your genius is shining through, like you're doing the thing that you know you are the best at, the beauty of that is when you turn around and you ask, okay, is this coming through? Is this message really coming through? And even if they don't completely agree with you or would have never even thought of that, if the message still lands, that's when you know you have something really powerful. So I'll give you an example of like a very informal collaboration. This is something I do with my husband all the time because he's really good with words and he just knows me really well. So I think he kind of knows how my brain works. But when I was transitioning the rebrand of my podcast, so it used to be called Positive by Design. Now it's called Branded. I knew I wanted to shorten the name. I wanted to make it more concise. I wanted to really like focus on brand conversations, business conversations, marketing conversations, life stuff, right? Like if you are building a brand, your life is part of it, especially if your brand is you. And so I'm racking my brain, and I'm coming up with these designs. And so I finally landed on Branded as the name. But the whole parentheses ED at the end of it was not something that I came up with right away. I was feeling very, very frustrated with the design of what the actual just branded, what that word would look like. Because the word as a whole, branded with the ED, like completely same font, same size, all of it, it just wasn't very impactful. There was something missing there. And then all of a sudden I was like, holy shit, what if I want to educate people. So what if I make the ED in parentheses? So it's like brand education. So this is all like internal conversations I'm having with myself. I'm sitting on the, Canva, I'm playing with fonts and I'm just like in the zone. And finally I realized, oh my gosh, I'm going to put the ED in parentheses. I'm going to make it smaller. So it's like brand education. And immediately I turned the computer to my husband and I said, hey, what do you think of when you see this? And all it was just branded with the ED smaller in the parentheses. And he was like, brand education. I get it. Yeah, that's clever. I like it. I didn't explain it to him. I didn't tell him my whole internal, ping pong ball situation going on. And so I knew in that moment, I was like, okay, it lands. Now, it may not land immediately for everybody all the time, but the fact that it was able to land for him and I was able to have that very informal moment of collaboration to really just solidify and ground that idea that I was having, that I was struggling with until that little light bulb moment came, that was so impactful. And it allowed me to really say, okay, that's all I needed. That I just needed that one moment of clarity to say, yep, that's the piece I was missing. Now I can move on and I can focus on other parts of the redesign. So that's an example of like informal collaboration that it immediately gave me the clarity I needed. So let's talk about some formal collaboration. I am currently on the board of a local organization here in Houston, and I am particularly involved in the marketing, communications, design, newsletters, email writing, all of that kind of stuff for this organization. So on that board, with the women I'm working closely with, one of them is a photographer, the other one does brand design, websites, coaching, all of the things, right? Her and I are kind of similar in our skills and talents and expertise. So you would think, right, just on first notion that maybe somebody would have a little bit of competitiveness, like, ooh, this person's kind of similar to me. I really need to like up my game, prove my worth, all of these things. But instead of coming into it with that mentality, because honestly, that's just not my personality. I'm not a very competitive person with other people. I'm more competitive with myself than with anybody else. So I went into that with a completely open mind, like fully embracing the fact that this was a collaborative effort from the get-go. Never will I be taking full credit for something unless I am the only one that has my hands and my eyes on it. Never will I be taking full credit for the ideas and all of that, right? So they brought me in because they love my design work and they love kind of how like my brain creates the aesthetics and all of this. But that doesn't mean that the way I see something is the final result, right? And so what has been so freaking beautiful about this collaboration is not only does the work turn out really, really gorgeous, but it happens faster because we're working together and we're bouncing ideas off of each other and nobody's getting their feelings hurt when things get changed. Instead, we basically take turns. So like, for example, we have an event happening on July the 10th. It's local. If you're in the wedding and events space, like industry in Houston, Texas, you better get your butt there because it's going to be phenomenal. It's like a French style chateau. It's local to Houston. I am so pumped to be there. But anyways, we were putting together the event guide for all of like the attendees that are going to be going to this event. And this is going to be like a couple hundred people, right? So we want this to look gorgeous. We want this event guide to really match the vibe of this absolutely stunning venue that we're holding the event at. Well, that feels like a lot of pressure, right? But instead, one of us started the design. We kind of just started putting things together, put some images out, put some copy there. We change up the font colors. We've got some mix of fonts, some cursive, some regular, all of that. And we're like, okay, go take a look at this draft. Next thing you know, there's changes, but it's only ever changing for the better. And after probably 8 or 10 revisions, some of them really small, some of them pretty big, we have the final product and we're able to launch it to an email list of, a couple hundred people. And we've already got people buying tickets to this thing. And we can confidently know that this design that we collaborated on was made better because we all had our hands and our eyes and our brains all inside of it. So there's a lot of reasons why collaboration just works, right? It will always 10x your business in some way. But I want to touch on a couple of them. So, of course, expanding your network, right? Collaboration will always expand your network in one way or another. Could be one person, could be thousands of people. It just depends what the platform is and like the nature of the collaboration, right? But it will always expand your network in one way or another. So it's really important to approach collaboration from a place of willingness to be a part of something. Not that you are the center of the universe and everybody's collaborating around you and just feeding you all of their ideas and you're getting bigger and grander and more awesome. That's not collaboration. Collaboration is you becoming part of something else, therefore expanding and enriching where you're currently at in your life and in your business. So your network will always expand. So there's no need to show up with the what's in it for me kind of mentality. You will always get a benefit when you collaborate with people, as long as you have an open mind and are willing to be part of something, be heard, and also to listen, right? It's not only about being heard, it is also about listening. It's like what I was saying on, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, the podcast episode, and I was talking about breath in versus in breath out and how it's a cycle. It is a circulation. You must have both. Collaboration's the same way. It can't just be take, 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 expand my network, make me amazing. No, you have to give as well. You have to have that space to take the breath in and take the breath out. Another reason I love collaboration is you always learn something new. Every fucking time I learn something new. And it could just be something small, but it's always impactful. And it's because of these outside perspectives. Like I was saying earlier, people have experienced life through their own lens. They will always have a different perspective for something. So if you're ever feeling stuck, if you're ever feeling like some uncertainty and you need that push, ask somebody else how they see it. Because one of the most powerful things you can do in life and in business is seeing something differently. I'm telling you, it's like a magical superpower. The moment you can see something differently, it's all of a sudden as if like the world becomes, I want to say 3D, but I know that's not right. Like it's like there's another dimension that just opens up and it becomes more colorful, more vibrant, more like tangible and textile. And it's juicier. All of a sudden you have this alternate perspective where you're like, whoa, I didn't see it that way. And I'm so glad that I do now, because now it can help you with the contrast of how you were seeing it and now how this other person is seeing it, and creates this like really beautiful combination of the two. It's so, so cool. I love learning new things all the time. And collaboration is one of the most impactful ways that you can learn new things while also like enriching yourself and your business. Okay, 10x your efforts. Collaboration will always 10x your efforts. So, for example, if I have a guest on my podcast, that podcast is now on their social media channels as well. I have just skyrocketed my visibility because I did one interview. That's the power of collaboration when you decide to bring somebody else into your world and share your expertise and your knowledge. It's a reciprocation. They do the same for you. And it's not even just about like expanding your network and, all of a sudden you have access to this group of people you didn't have access to before. But just like I was saying with the event guide that we were designing, the three of us ladies as a team, we were able to 10x our efforts because we got it done that much faster. We were able to put together this project in a more efficient way because we were doing it together. So that's with any project. If you can delegate something to somebody and it can get done more efficiently, more effectively, if it can just get done better because that's their zone of genius, that's the power of collaboration. So outside of being involved in the local organization, I am also collaborating with three other women, and we're doing a mastermind kind of situation. And we're still in the works of it, but it is full on collaboration. We are talking about what's the name of this going to be? What are the conversations that we're going to be had? How many times a week are we going to do this? Or how many times a month are we going to do this? Who's going to be doing the branding? Who's going to be doing the copy? Like, we are delegating and we are identifying the zone of genius that everybody has so we can 10x our efforts. Not one person has to do all of it. Not one person should do all of it, especially if it's a group project. So if you find that you are doing all of it, it could be one of two things. You're controlling the situation and not allowing people to help you, or maybe you need new team members that are better, can step up. But oh, my goodness, my hair is getting so long. I need to get it cut. But 10xing your efforts is one of those things that until you really experience it with collaboration, it's easy to get stuck in doing everything. As a solopreneur, it is really, really easy to get like stuck doing all the work. Now, I have decided to strip down some of the things that I used to do because they don't serve me anymore. And so I don't do them anymore. But I'm to a point where I don't actually even need a virtual assistant or anything of the sort because I have streamlined the way I operate so much that I only actually operate in my zone of genius now. And all the other stuff, it has no place in my business really. Now, at some point, I will probably need to bring somebody on, and that's when my experience with collaboration and being open to others' ideas and perceptions is going to come into play. And I'm excited for that. I'm just not there yet, and I don't need it at the moment. But your efforts will absolutely be 10x when you start allowing others' perspectives and experiences to support these big, grand ideas that you have. Variety of perspectives. We've already kind of touched on this, but having a unique approach that maybe you never would have even thought of, how can that not be impactful? How could it not? And that's why I love doing this mastermind that I'm doing with these three other ladies, because we're talking about things, and I will almost every time we're on a Zoom to kind of run through the collaboration as a whole, like what are we going to be doing next? Every time we're on that Zoom call, I learn something new. I get a variety of perspectives from all of them. I mean, one of the ladies, she lives in the UK. The other one, she just sold her house and they're going to be like living in Mexico soon. Like, we're all at different stages in our lives. We're all at different stages of our businesses. We all live in different places in the world. So we all have a variety of perspectives to bring to the table. And that's the beauty of it. That's actually the point of the collaboration, is understanding that we all can build big, beautiful businesses and they don't all have to look the same. Stay tuned for more of that. That's exciting. I'll start sharing more of that once we actually have more information to share. But that mastermind is going to be really fucking awesome. And last but not least, about collaboration, I'll wrap it up with this. It's fun. It's so much fun to be able to have conversations where you can bounce ideas off of each other. You're reflecting this excitement and this drive to create something new, to be innovative. How fucking cool. It's so exciting to collaborate with people, and it is so, so much fun. And honestly, I crave that kind of stuff because I work from home 100% of the time. I am here all the time. There are some weeks I don't even leave the house. Like, I go outside to just sit and be in the sunshine because I haven't even left the house in a whole freaking week. Having that human interaction, it keeps me sharp. It keeps me on my toes. I need to keep my social skills exercised, right? Especially when I'm not seeing people on a daily basis anymore. But it's fun. It's just something that you can engage in that is also incredibly productive. So I hope you found today helpful. Collaboration, reach out to somebody. If there is somebody that is like, oh my gosh, I would never ask them to do, an Instagram live with me, or oh my gosh, I want them on my podcast so bad. I don't know if they would say yes. Ask. All you have to do is ask. People love to collaborate. Love it. And it's not about what's in it for you. It's not even about what's in it for them. It's about what you create together. So go 10x your business, collaborate with some people online, in the real world, do all of it. Become part of something bigger than you. And who knows what you have going on, your genius might be that missing piece that they need too. Till next week, I'll bring you guys a brand new show. Hope you have a good day. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Branded, the podcast. Please rate and review. And for more information, visit socialjanemedia.com. I'll see you soon.